Hey YouTube, this is Sam Dennehy, Halfass Customs, and this is Halfass Presents, the podcast. We're here with a very special guest, all the way from over the pond, so it's super late for him, but he's here to talk about the hobby of his small little 187 scale venture and his 3D printing in the 187 scale. He mainly does 164s, but we're going to start off with the smaller scale first and then go on from there. So, special guest, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Sven, and I'm from the Netherlands. I live like a 30-minute drive away from Amsterdam, and I have been doing 3D printing in both 164 and 187 scale since uh, March of last year, so a little over a year now. I think like a year and 3 months. Um, and I've done some stuff in 187 scale as well, especially some motorcycles that I 3D printed. Um, And yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah, I've bought some of those motorcycles, and let me tell you, dude, I love them. And
Yeah.
your lowrider bike, oh,
Oh yeah.
it's just perfect. For the scale, I mean, you got the scale down beyond perfect.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful product that you offer, and I'm glad that we're able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, what got you into the hobby of building models, or just to the hobby in general?
Um, well, I've always been into cars myself. I'm a car guy. I love cars, especially the old American cars and the newer generation import cars from Japan. Um, what got me into really scale modeling was back in the day when I was I'm still young, but when I was really young, I used to modify my Matchbox and my Hot Wheels cars. I would tint their windows and I would put spoilers on them and do wheel swaps. And then when I got older, I started getting into the more premium detailed stuff. And my dad at the time, he was building a 1 to 87 scale train layout. Around here we have this brand from Germany called Märklin, and it's really familiar around here. I don't know how it is in the US, but it's really familiar around here. Um, so my dad was building a layout, and um, I've always really been into the car, the little model cars and the scenery around them. Especially when I got older, I started building dioramas, and so this idea came to my mind that my dad was building the layout. Why don't I do the scenery part? So I started up with some houses and got like a big piece of cardboard and put some roads on it and some houses and got a couple little cars, and I just started playing around with the cars, and that was my introduction to 187 scale. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got some of your cars, and
Yeah.
they're
We did a
pretty
trade
cool
in the
looking.
past. We did a little trade in the past where he got some of my low
Yeah,
rider model cars, 187 scale.
yeah, I like them. I like your style. I like almost everything you've shown. I mean, even from your 164 scale to the 187 scale, you seem to have the same love for the style of car that I love. And you've
Mm-hmm.
seen my cars. I build all kinds of lowriders in the 187 scale,
Mm-hmm.
and you seem to have that same love for the car that I do. And it's pretty cool because in the small scale hobby that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
there's not very many people that do that lowrider look for
No,
this
definitely
scale.
not.
So
It's more 1 to
yeah.
24 scale type of thing,
Oh,
like
right.
people that build the model kits. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And then your 3D stuff, it's awesome because I've got some of your wheels that you made for me,
Mm-hmm.
lowrider wheels, and those things are bad to the bone. I love them.
They're really tiny.
So,
They're really hard to get right, and I mean,
oh, I bet.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, future wise, what do you see for the future for your products in 3D printing?
Well, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've been doing this for a little over a year now, and I'm trying to move more towards the painted products because I have a lot of people asking me like, "Hey, do you paint? Do you offer painted products?" Um, and the motorcycles that I have that I'm currently offering, um, they are just so detailed, so highly detailed that it takes a lot of time to paint them up. So I'm currently working on a couple of models that I can actually offer painted. So with like a separate engine block and stuff like that. The first one is going to be out soon. It's a 1915 Harley Davidson motorcycle, the F hat. Um, and I'm working on a Hydroglide, and I'll have some more stuff coming. Um, the perfect future for me would be um, developing my 3D model skills even more and to actually get doing maybe scale model cars. But
Man, that'd be awesome.
yeah, I would need to find the right people, and because the only thing I would be able to do would be the 3D modeling part. But when it comes to building an actual audience of customers, the only
Well, I tell
audience.
you what, man, I'd be a customer. I think I bought one of each one of your motorcycles. I've bought your bikes. I've got your wheels. Whatever else you end up making in this small scale, I'll probably be buying too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you're able to come on the podcast. In your opinion, how do you think the hobby's going? I mean, do you like the hobby as it is now? Do you see it being able to be better than it is?
Do you mean 187 scale or scale modeling in
Um,
general?
just in general, like with the pandemic that we have going on right now,
Yeah,
I watched a news segment that said hobbies in general have reached over 400% compared to where they were before the pandemic.
yeah.
So with everybody going to hobbies because they can't go nowhere and can't do nothing,
Hmm.
how do you see it, like in all hobbies, all skills?
Well, first of all, I think it's a really great thing that people choose hobbies over uh, anything during these times. I
Drugs,
think it's, yeah,
prostitution.
well, just anything or depression or whatever. Hobbies really keep you busy, and I think that you need something like that to lay on during these times, especially when you can't go out. You cannot just go out and see your certain family members. So I think it's a really great thing that people are um, turning to their hobbies. Um, I think that it's the thing I see happening is that it's mostly older guys, the older generation. I think I'm one out of not so many guys from the younger generation who is doing it. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of
Electronics. That's why it is. Video
electronics. I was about to
games,
say, yeah,
electronics.
yeah. I was about
That's
to
why.
say social media and everything, yeah, and the video games especially. I've always been kind of in between. When I was 12, I was behind the computer playing video games a lot, uh, racing video games and stuff like that. But on the side, when the internet was down or something, I would always be building my scale model. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah,
That's what it's about. Like you were playing video games, but they were car video games. Then you were building model cars. So
yeah,
you stay within the car realm, which is what it's all about. I mean, you like
yeah.
cars,
And
you like cars.
even though I always had the thing for car video games, it was always virtual. I wanted to actually be able to have something in my hands and have a physical car, like a little model car that I could actually work on and have a little parking lot. I always had a thing for the physical things as well, besides the visual virtual cars in the
Right.
video game. So
Yeah,
that's
that makes sense. I think
yeah,
that's why a lot of us, even in the 164 scale, like a lot of us collect, even though we customize, we have more collection than we do custom cars
yeah.
because we want that little piece of what we can't have as a full size scale in a smaller scale.
Right, right. And it just gives you that type of dopamine. You know what I mean? When there's another car
Oh
coming in
yeah.
from Japan, a little model car from Japan, I'm like, oh yeah. And I just add
Right, right.
a little. piece more to my collection. I just, you know,
Yeah, a
can,
couple of years ago, America opened its doors to allow the R34 to come in regularly. So before you had to ship it in like secretly, and now you can just order them, just buy them on eBay or whatever, and have them shipped over, no problem.
oh, you mean
And
the real car?
yeah, yeah, the real one. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. Like when you see something you don't hardly ever see,
Hmm.
and only on TVs and movies, you're like, what? What is that?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah, it's the same thing. And then you get yourself like a little car show in the small scale, and you're like, I got this. This is awesome.
Right. And you just build a diorama around, and then you just take your camera or your phone or whatever camera you have, and you just take pictures of it, post it on social media. To me, that gives a feeling of satisfaction. I'm actually working on another diorama right now. It's unfortunately it's not 187 scale. Um, I did actually make a diorama for my 187 scale bikes, which I took to a show with me. Um,
Yeah, I remember seeing that online.
yeah, yeah. So I
That
was
was cool.
just had a little setup there. I'm just trying to get back into the diorama building thing right now. Um,
Well, what I've seen you post so far is it's pretty cool. You got like a little street scene going,
yeah,
couple
yeah.
houses.
What I'm doing is I have a garage, and on top of the garage, it has no roof. So on top of the garage, I'm actually making a furnished apartment, and I'm making the furniture into I'm 3D excuse me, I'm 3D modeling it myself on the computer, and then I'm 3D printing it. So everything that's going to be in the little apartment, or most of the stuff, is going to be 3D printed by me. I still had
That's
some,
awesome.
yeah, I still had some furniture left, but most of the stuff is just going to be 3D printed by me. And I think that's a great way to show the world like this is what 3D modeling and 3D printing can do for scale modeling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the little details you can do with the resin 3D is
Oh yeah,
so amazing.
yeah, especially the resin printer. I'm currently printing. I'm currently doing a print of wheels, um, at which I print at 0.02 millimeters layer height. So that's just so the detail is so fine. You can see no layers at all. It does take a lot of time to actually print like at that layer height, but um, like I was saying, resin printing is just so much detail, and you also have the printers with the filament, where you can actually see the layers, and that's a whole
Right.
different.
That's
That's a
a
whole,
3D printer I have, and I don't like it.
no, because you cannot get the detail. You know,
Right.
I can do the 187 scale lowrider bikes and actually get the spokes to
Right.
show.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can't get no spoke in any scale almost in my printer.
Well, maybe 118 scale,
Maybe.
but
Yeah.
that's
Or
it.
bigger.
That's
Yeah.
it. Maybe.
Well, hey, man, that's really cool. I'm glad that you ventured into 3D printing in the smaller scale, in the 187 scale, because the little market that you covered, nobody else is covered in the world. The motorcycles, the bikes, especially these new rims that we're getting.
Oh
Um,
yeah, the rims.
so,
Hmm.
yeah, nobody's ventured into that. So I'm glad that you did. I'm also glad that you're a cool enough guy to even think about doing it, because I've talked to several other people and they're like, no, it's too small. I ain't bothering with it. So
Yeah.
the fact that you even bothered to try, dude, it means a lot. So, and then I know the customers you've had just in the 187 scale world, I mean, as small as they are,
Hmm.
um, the product speaks for itself, because you haven't heard any bad reviews, at least I haven't,
No, neither.
saying that people didn't like the product once they got it. So you're doing a good thing, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Especially, I was actually surprised because the 187 bikes that I did 3D print were actually modeled to be printed in 164 scale. So I had to make some parts
Right.
thicker, like the frame on the Harley Davidson Fat Boy, to get it to print properly. And I was actually surprised that I still have the engine details, everything. I had the ignition wiring on the Fat Boy. I had it still
Yeah.
intact, and it printed
Right.
everything printed just fine in 187. So it was crazy. First time that came out of the
It really
printer, I was
did. And the
surprised.
cool thing is yeah, the way you have them shipped, I mean, on my end, nothing broke. And it looks like
Yeah.
when people were unpacking them and posting them on their end, it looks like all the product is perfectly intact. So the
Yeah.
shipping, the product, it's perfect, man.
Yes, sir.
You're doing a really good job. Really good.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying to provide, like, that's what I stand for. I'm just trying to provide the world scale modeling, especially the vehicle scale modeling. I'm just trying to provide them with something different. You know what I mean? And
Oh, it's different.
yeah, yeah, in this case, it's the motorcycles, and who knows what comes next.
Well, yeah, I mean, the baggers and the lowrider bikes, you can't get that in 164 scale or 187 scale without your product.
No,
I mean,
no, there's
nobody
nobody
else
else
is
doing the
offering
baggage.
it. So,
No, that's right.
yeah. And if you just keep on expanding little by little, that product, you'll have the whole market covered for so many different kind of motorcycles and bikes and whatever else you end up doing in the
Yes, sir.
future.
Yes, sir. I would actually like to maybe find some people who I could maybe work together with to expand maybe my audience or my product line because as you know, it takes a lot of time to like I do everything by myself in house. I'm a one man business. I operate on my own. I do the 3D modeling, the producing, the marketing, and everything. So it would be cool to actually find maybe one or two people who would like be willing to roll with me on this.
Right.
Uh, Maybe bring in some of their own ideas to produce
I
something.
know when you offered it in 187 scale, I completely shared your very first post to every single group I was on saying,
Yes,
hey,
sir.
everybody, you got to check this out. This stuff is crazy awesome.
Yeah,
And a lot of people commented, definitely. A lot of people liked. I don't know how many people actually bought from you, but I mean, people thought it was a cool product. With that being said, though, since you're looking to broaden your workmanship out to you know needing help or whatnot, since this is going on YouTube, how can people get a hold of you?
um, you know what? My names are Dutch and my last name is German, so I will just give you the information
Like your
to.
Facebook name and then like your company name. How can they
Mhm.
just
All right, so
find you?
my company name is Scenery. That's SC. So that's S is the first letter of my initials, and C is the second letter of my initials. It's the 26th letter of the alphabet, and then Enery. It stands for the scenery around me, combined with my initials because I'm the founder of the business. So that makes it Scenery. So SCENERY. Um, Same for the website. It's just scenery.com. Very simple. On Instagram, I go by scenery. So just put in instagram.com/scenery. On Facebook, I'm called Scenery Scale Models. Really easy to find. Um, and I'm actually, when I have my diorama done, I'll get onto YouTube as well.
Sweet, man. Awesome. And I like to end every podcast with do you have any words of advice for young modelers just getting into it?
Young modelers, just like myself. I didn't just get into it a couple of years ago. I got into it when I was, I don't know, maybe 8 years old. And I'm about to turn 21 after this summer. So, any words of advice to people who are really young?
Because like you said, most of the modelers are older people.
Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh.
any words of encouragement, advice, whatever for young
Yeah.
people that
I would say that before you pick up the video game, try to imagine what you can actually get out of playing a video game compared to building actual models because um, building models just gives so much more satisfaction. Playing video games is easier. There's a lot less trial and error because especially when you just get into building scale models, it's not an easy thing to do. But once you get a hang of it, it's really worth it. Once you see your shelf lined up with all the little scale models you build, it's totally worth it.
right. Awesome, man. Well, hey, I totally appreciate you doing this podcast. It means a lot. And once you get that diorama done, or if you have anything else you want to talk about between then, just hey,
Mhm.
let me know, and we'll shoot another video.
Yeah, sure, man. By the way, that Biscayne wagon, I think it was a Biscayne wagon you sent me, the 180, the 164 scale,
Yeah.
the
Did
62
it get
wagon.
there?
No, it's still on the way, but I'm just
Oh
about to say like
man.
it'll look great on the diorama though. You know, when it's finished,
Right.
when I got the shop done, it'll look great. I'll send you some pictures of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can't believe it's taken this long, but this pandemic is just
Crazy. It's crazy.
it's driving me crazy.
Oh yeah, everybody.
But I'm glad it's still on the way. I just wish it was actually there.
Yeah, it's track shipping, so it's I'm keeping track of it.
Good, good, good. Um, all right, man. Well, I think that's it. Anything else you want to say, or you good to go?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, if there were all your questions,
Yeah, I
if you
got
ain't got nothing
nothing
else to
now.
ask me,
Maybe we'll have questions in the comments once they see the video. But all right, buddy. I appreciate the podcast, and
yeah,
you
sure.
keep building.
I sure will. You too, man.
All right, man.